afraid to talk.
They are not afraid to talk.
They are right now.
Well, we're looking forward to getting results to everybody earlier on election night.
So what do you project in terms of like how that will work?
We still have the drop boxes that we pick up at 8 o'clock, and we've got 14 of them, and we do see voters hold on to that ballot sometimes until late in the day. So, you know, it's still going to take us a couple of hours after 8 o'clock to collect those. We have to scan them in, check the signature, all of our regular security things, and then finish processing them. So it's still going to take a little bit of time, but, you know, my goal is always to be before the 11 o'clock news. It's been hard the last few elections because of all the absentees we've had, so I just want to get back to that.
Yeah. The pre-processing will help, right?
The pre-processing, yeah, we've everything that we had in through Monday has already been scanned, scanned, and is ready for us to just print total after we get all the rest of them in.
Yeah. And how are we seeing turnout so far? What do you, is it, I mean, it's unusual. You don't have anything to compare it to because now it starts much earlier, but.
You know, absentee is pretty high. You know, we've issued close to 15,000 ballots here for the city of Lansing. With the permanent mail, what we are seeing though is some people are resistant to making a ballot selection. So we have some folks that should have gotten a ballot, but because they haven't selected between the two parties for the presidential primary, we just aren't able to issue that. And we've got about 70% of what we've issued is already back. So I think the turnout is coming in.
Okay.
How much more does this cost you, Chris?
Well, it is a lot more expensive. Early voting, you know, a team, these folks are here for 8 hours, between opening and closing, close to 10 hours each day of the 9 days. You know, so that's expensive, but keep in mind the presidential primary is reimbursable by the state, so it's costing
all of us.
Can you give us a ballpark though? Are we talking like, you know, a couple 100,000, $1 million? I mean, how much?
Statewide, I don't know.
No, just for you.
Just for us. So it costs probably about $1,000 a day per site for just the staffing. So 18,000.
18,000. Okay, this whole thing will.
For the whole 9 days of early voting.
18,000.
Yeah, and sorry, that's an off the top of my head number. So
we are going to do a group photo. We'll do a scrum outside. Stacy can take the press there, but if we could have all the staff come together for a quick group photo.
That's right here.
Oh,
there you are. I was like, hey. Well, here, we're going to put Cass next to you. Okay. She's very excited.
We're going to have you guys smile right here.
Oh, good.
For you.
Julie,
something inside.
I will. I want to stand behind you. I know. No, I'm ready. Stacy, I like your coat. Oh, thank you. I love it.
So I'm gonna be here. Am I in your?
Just your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm gonna get a shot of her. Preferably with the I'm an artist. You got enough room?
Yes.
Cool.
How much time we got, Stacy?
We got time.
Okay.
weather
For today?
for today. Go back to like 20 degrees tomorrow.
Go back up next week too, so.
Roller coaster.
Be nice if it would be warm on a weekend.
That's true. We haven't gotten that yet. It's coming eventually.
Still taking photos in there?
Yes.
Everyone's lining up. They didn't even give me one of the little window things for 9 and 10. No.
Mine's in a really rough shape.
I think it's almost set to line or not. Hello.
There he is, look at
Here I am. Let's hide that one.
All right, happy to open it up for some questions.
Governor, why are you here today? What's your message to Michiganders ahead of Election Day?
I just want to make sure Michiganders know now is the time to make our voices heard. We've moved up the Michigan primary. I think because Michigan's voice is so important that we are earlier in the process. This is our chance to vote. We've expanded the ability to vote. We've made it easier to register to vote. And so highlighting this early voting spot here in Lansing was an opportunity to remind people now is the time, and our primary is on Tuesday the 27th.
Governor, what,
Go ahead, Rick.
what concerns do you have in the primary about the abandoned Biden movement to vote uncommitted?
You know, I understand the angst that people are feeling about what's happening in Gaza and Israel. It's real, and we are proud to be home to a diverse population here in Michigan. This is a very high stakes election, and I would encourage people to vote affirmatively for the candidate that most represents what they value and where they think that we should head as a nation. I am here in my official capacity, not in any other, so I'll just leave my comments to that.
But what message would be sent if there was a high uncommitted vote in this primary?
I'm sure a lot of people will try to distill that and make that determination. What I'm hoping for is that Michiganders get out, that we show the world moving this primary up was important because we take it seriously, and we know that our votes matter.
Governor, the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity recently sent out a message for volunteers to house migrants. Do you know what the reason was behind that, whether Michigan has seen an increase in the number of migrants coming into the state, or I guess what prompted that?
We have seen an increase in migrants coming to Michigan, but as far as what prompted that, I'd be happy to get a little more information, get back with you about.
Any other questions on voting? We also have the clerk available as well. We're here in Lansing, but this has been a huge asset for rural voters to be able to have a longer amount of time to travel for voting. So I just wanted to ask what it's been like. Have you heard anything about what it's been like in rural communities so far?
Well, I'll say a couple things and then hand it over to the clerk. But just we know that the ability to vote and elect our leaders is something that is absolutely essential in a democracy. It is crucial that we make it easier for people to vote without ever compromising the security of that vote. And I think that we've really been able to do that, to make it easier for first-time voters to register on election day or up to election day, as well as for people to get an absentee ballot or to be able to drop it off at a drop box. Voting 9 days in advance of the election. These are all ways that we've made it easier so that people don't have to figure out childcare or time off work or the other multitude of reasons that make it difficult for people to participate. We've done our best to make that easier.
I think the important aspect of it is that we as clerks were given multiple tools to be able to handle this. So if you think about the city of Lansing, we have a population of over 100,000. So we have 2 sites that we're operating independently from any other community, but we have communities across Michigan which have very different populations. And so the fact that we have the ability under the law to work together as clerks and not be inefficient with this process is really important. And yet, we are still serving those voters. So if you think about some of our rural Michigan communities, you know, you might go to the grocery store, which might be 10 or 15 miles away, and on election day, that might be inconvenient. But when you have 9 days of early voting, you know, you might be going in that area anyway. So, you know, it really, those extra days for rural folks, I think really adds to the convenience, and it's even more important, I think, sometimes than the urban vote in terms of the accessibility.
Governor, Secretary Benson told us last week that she is going to be visiting a few more polling places throughout the early voting period and keeping tabs on election workers around the state. Do you have any plans to keep in touch or do the same?
We'll always be monitoring. I think that this is an important governmental function to make sure that all Michiganders have the ability to vote. Doesn't matter which ballot they're grabbing, that we want to make sure that it's easy and that it's protected and respected. And so some of the bills that I signed into law, penalizing people that make threats or try to undermine our ability to vote, I think is really important, and I'll be keeping tabs through the Secretary of State, but also the Michigan State Police.
Chris, what precautions are you taking to make sure that as you're processing these votes right now, that results don't get popped out early?
Well, we have separate codes that the election workers don't even have in there that are the results codes, so they wouldn't have the ability to accidentally do that. So 8 o'clock election night, we will have a team that will be given those codes, and we'll be able to print those results from the early voting.
Governor, today the Attorney General announced charges against 2 individuals who were helping to fundraise for the Unlock Michigan effort that overturned your emergency orders. Do you want to comment on those charges at all, or your thoughts on that?
I just saw a blurb about it before I walked in, so I've not really had an opportunity to read the full article yet, Beth. But you know, I know that the Attorney General takes her job very seriously, and I'll be interested to learn more about kind of what culminated in this, but I don't have a lot of substantive reaction yet.
All right, I think that's all the time we have. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you all vote?
No.
All right. I don't care how you voted, just make sure you vote.
I haven't run election days.
Don't go to the primary. I don't believe journalists should.
You don't vote in primaries. Okay, I get it.
Stacey, are you trying to run the primaries?
I'm gonna walk around.